All right, I'm going to cut to the chase here. I had a friend who was messaging me on YouTube about possibly doing a video on codependent um, relationships and self-doubt. And those things go extremely hand in hand with each other. So the one thing I want to say that is the biggest contributing factor is a low view of self-worth. And this usually comes from unresolved trauma in childhood. So I had and hopefully people can use this in their own life situations and understand how this manifests itself into your view of how you're seeing yourself and what you're trying to get from others. So if you're dealing with an abusive household, an abusive situation, say you had a stepdad or someone who's constantly putting you down and pretty much saying like you do not have value, you're not important, that's huge. I mean, a father's job is to uphold his son. Not only uphold his son, but to raise him right with a good view of worth and self-dignity and respect and discipline. And a mother's job is to nurture and care and comfort her child and other things like that. And that's why the Lord has this image of marriage, because it's important. And when it does not go right, and when people have unresolved issues of their own from their childhoods, that can come out and seep out, and now they can be passing that on to the next generation. It creates this horrible cycle of pain. So if you're growing up and you do not have a good view of your self-worth or your self-value, you are going to attract people who step all over you. Not only are you going to attract people who step on you, you're going to attract people who want to use you and suck the life out of you and then discard you and leave you alone to pretty much not only deal with your own feelings, but deal with the feelings that they're pushing on you. And that's not cool. That's not fair. You need to leave that situation. You need to go and you need to get out. You need to start going and seeking the most important, the most right, and the most good master of all, and that's Jesus Christ. And you need to check that out, and you need to figure out what it looks like to actually regain this structure and to reparent yourself. And when you submit and you follow that, you're going to be shown these things. You're going to be transformed into the image of him, and it's going to really, you're going to really start seeing things differently, and you're going to start being able to use your voice. Self-doubt a lot of the times comes from a lack too of not being able to use our voice and not feeling heard. So it almost feels like I don't even want to use my voice, because if I do, not only is this person going to shove it back in my face and I'm not going to feel heard, but now I'm going to be stuck with that same feeling of just not feeling like an important person. So you almost don't want to speak. So it's good to seek out people who listen, right? You want to seek out people who listen and who value what you are saying. If you're surrounding yourself with people who are making fun of you, they're calling you names, they're just not being respectful, they're constantly pushing barrages on stuff, like situations to try to make you feel bad, or to try to just provoke you into an emotional response, you need to separate yourself from that situation and go somewhere that's healthy, because it's going to lead to nowhere except more pain. One thing I will say, I know counseling is expensive, but I go to a Christian therapist, and some counselors do reduced rates, and that can be extremely awesome. So seek out people who are going to give you these tools. And I was like adamantly against counseling for so long. I thought it was weird. I didn't want to give someone money to pretend like they care about me, but it has been like one of the best things that I've done. I can actually see things for how they are now. I can see people for who they are and what they're actually after, and it's just been legit. And also, self-doubt comes from a lack of understanding about who God says you are. So if you're constantly looking for people to reaffirm and give you your sense of self and value, not only do they probably not value themselves, they're probably coming from a similar structure that you are, in the parental dynamic. So you're going to be looking for your sense of self-value from someone who not only does not have a good sense of self-value for themselves, but is probably also dealing with a lot of traumatic stuff And these people can be narcissistic, they can be manipulative. There's a bunch of different situations how these people can leech into your life because they're trying to suck this life out of you, especially if you're an empathetic person. They're going to feed off of you. And if you ignore them and you don't, and you just move on, and God will send you better people to surround yourself with. It's okay to be alone, right? Just lock it down, start reading, start praying, and just wait on the Lord. I swear that's like the most important thing. Do not surround yourself with people who are going to continue to just make you not rise above the state you're in. Constantly keep looking for steps up. You constantly want to keep improving. You want to keep doing better. You want to keep, it's awesome. You want to keep. I've started so many new things, extracurricular activities and volunteering and evangelizing and doing quite a few things just to get myself out of my own head and this perspective that I have of myself. So you want to get yourself out of yourself and then give yourself to someone else. And in doing that, you're going to create good relationships, and you're going to help the world around you. And you're really going to start to see like, oh, this is how I can use my heart. Instead of giving your heart to someone who's just going to step on it, you're going to want to give your heart to people who are going to appreciate it and say, you have value and I see that and thank you. And then you can glorify God through your works. And not only can you be helpful, but you can point them to the one who has saved you as well. So I wrote down a couple things. I think that was most of it. If I want to emphasize this a lot too with being codependent. Boundaries are so important. And like, if you're empathetic and you're soft, like me, right? I'm not only empathetic, but I can be soft. I'm working on using my voice and I'm working on boundaries. Boundaries are important. And you can be so highly aware of like where you draw the line when you do stuff to certain people. Like, oh, I don't want to cross this boundary. This is the thing. But yet when they do it to you, it's so hard to discern like if you should be deserving this, like how they're treating you or how they're acting. Like you almost push it off because you expect to be treated that way. You expect like, because you're getting your worth from how they're treating you, and you're used to it. You're used to people stepping on you and calling you names and not respecting your feelings and not being there and just doing all these things. So you really got to separate yourself and just be alone and pray and read the Bible and like, Lord, I'm a weak man, and I'm saying this for myself. I'm a weak man. I need help. I need to be restructured. I'm tired of surrounding myself with these people who don't see my value. And I want to know and figure out who I am. And I want to be strong, and I want to do your work and figure out how to glorify you and live for you. And just the more you get aware of how weak and frail people's love is and how love can camouflage itself demonically, and it can come off seemingly harmless. People are very good at this, to act like they're harmless, and then they come in and it's very hard to tell. You start second guessing yourself and doubting yourself, and wanting to please this person and just be something for them and try to go against what you should be doing because you're hoping and pleasing these people you're gonna find your identity, and you just won't. If people are being bogus to you, you don't want them around you. You don't want them to show you the value you're trying to find, because they don't value you. They value you for a little bit while you're holding their emotions, but you're stuck left with all the baggage, dude. And it's like, deal with it yourself, dude. I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done. I'm out, So, and I'm saying this to my friend too. If you're in this situation where you're not feeling respected, you constantly are drained, you're feeling like you have to excuse yourself and defend yourself all the time, and you feel like you're carrying a lot more emotional baggage, and it does not belong to you, you need to like head for the hills, dude, and get away from that. And until you heal yourself, until you really start doing this work, to try to figure out boundaries, your identity, your relationship with Christ, most importantly, you're going to have a very hard time not continually attracting the same situation. And you're going to be just repeating it. I did that. I keep repeating and attracting these same women. The same thing happens. And it's like, at some point you got to say, I think I'm the issue here. You know what I mean? You can't always blame it on the other person because that's who they are. But you can certainly blame yourself if you're sitting around there putting up with it, waiting for them to change, because they never will. Unless you repent and really take a hard look at yourself, they're never going to see an issue with themselves, and you're never going to see an issue with yourself. So really, really dig deep and figure out what the issue is here and why you're putting up with people treating you badly, or why you're so attached. And that can be fear. You can be attached to this idea of this person being everything for you. And they won't be, man. They're a human being. You have to have something that's above yourself. All humans look for a hierarchy, and the top of that is Christ. And if you're looking for this woman or man, I don't specifically know your gender, I'm assuming you're a male. If you're looking for them to be your God, you're going to suffer so hard, because they are anything but. So they're a human being. They're messed up too, and it's just like, take a step back, really use good communication, express it. And if everything that you're saying is coming directly right back at you, and you feel like they're not taking anything in and putting it anywhere and help you to be better or understanding where you're coming from, they're not going to respect your voice. So you need to not even waste your time and your energy with someone who is not going to appreciate or hear your words. Because you're loved, man. You're loved. The Lord loves you. I love you. It's just, we're in it together. And I know codependent relationships and self-doubt can be troublesome. I really do. I deal with it quite a bit, and I'm getting a lot better. But it's a lot, man. And you're going to have to reparent yourself. And I don't know if you're a believer or a faithful person, but Christ is the ultimate, highest possible God in the flesh is going to show you how he created you and what he wants your heart to be used for, man, and how he can really change your life. So you're loved, bro, and just hang in there and keep going, and you'll be all right, man.